Coderconversations. We got a long time, long time guest, man. Welcome back, Terrence. It's been a while.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a while. Um, I sorry for disappearing. I think I last time I was on the show, I got caught up. I got a job, and then I kind of stopped showing up. So I'm back now though.
Yeah, man. Tech industry, man. Things change so quickly, man. It's like one day you're up, then the next you're
Yeah,
just down for months.
yeah, yeah. I'm realizing now that I'm going back into the tech market to look for jobs and stuff. Is that if you don't keep up with it, you will you'll lose your skill set will get outdated very quickly. Like 6 months,
Yeah,
8 months, 2 months, things change so quickly, right? So um yeah, my last job, like we weren't really using AI like that. And then now I look up and everybody is asking for AI. Like they're all asking for how do you use AI in your day to day? What do you think about it? Stuff like that. It's interesting.
yeah. The market just completely shifted in like under a year. It's like a completely different skill set that you have to have, and
Yeah.
you didn't take the time to develop that skill set on your own. You just stuck. Like,
Yeah. You gotta play catch up.
I mean, I think we're used to that in tech, man. Like, one framework is hot, and then boom, it blows up. Now this other framework is hot, and
Yeah.
you don't have that. You're behind.
Yeah. But I also think that uh learning how to keep an eye on like what might blow up, not
Yeah,
not just like shifting over and just like jumping straight into the new hotness, right? Like going all in, but just kind of keeping an eye out for it. Because I remember, was it Svelte?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was kind of hot for a little bit. I don't know if it still is or not, but um yeah, there's that. A lot of places switched from I think Angular to React. Um, I remember that whole shift, and I think there was another. There's Vue also, but I don't know how hot Vue
yeah.
is.
View. No, I'm pretty much seeing Angular and React. Like, it seems like JavaScript is kind of settling down a little bit. Like
Yeah,
before, there's like a new framework every 2 weeks, but
yeah,
now it's like React or Angular, like Next.js, which is pretty much React.
yeah. Or even now, it's a lot of Claude, like
Yeah,
Cursor, Claude, like using AI to code, right? So it's less of do you know the framework and more like how do you use these AI agents to make
yeah.
uh, projects for you. That's interesting. I think I've been studying that a lot, like Claude and stuff, and it's neat. But I do also feel like it does weaken you as a developer if you rely on it too much,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, I don't. Are you using any of that stuff in your day to day or like at work?
Like, I'm me personally, I'm not like typing prompts in the cloud, but it has been used at our company to generate a lot of code. I just usually go through, read the code, edit
Yeah,
it, tweak it,
yeah,
like because it can like generate on the surface like what you want, but a lot of times the code is super verbose or
yeah.
has these side effects you may not realize until you walk through the code. So
Mhm.
it's not just like you know put whatever parameters in and just forget it. Like you have to actively look at what it's generating and
Yeah,
walk through it.
yeah, yeah.
I,
There's that. Go ahead.
oh no, yeah, I think that's the danger of everybody using AI. Is like people they have the great power of being able to generate code for these apps, but they don't know what the code is doing, especially because they're not coding anymore. So they're just like, oh well, Claude put this out, so I'll just dump this out into the atmosphere.
Yeah. Or even still, like there's times where I'll ask Claude to do something, it'll generate, a feature of an app, right? And then I'll take whatever it generated and put it into VS Code or Cursor, and then it'll just be nothing but red. There was one time where like I think the package it was using was a beta version of a repo, and it had like a bunch of edge cases that weren't it wasn't aware of. And
Yeah.
when I went back and I said, "Hey, this isn't working," or "There's all this code is red. Well, why is that?" And it says, "Oh yeah, there's a defect in this in the latest version of this repo or this package. We need to roll back to a more stable version." And I was like, "Did you consider that when you
Right.
generated when you wrote this?" Like,
Right. Exactly. Like, why didn't they get it right the first time? Like,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, it gave you some shoddy code, but it just went,
yeah,
let me just go ahead.
yeah. He asked for it. I just give it to him. Yeah,
And then I think that's kind of like the danger you have. Especially a lot of non-technical people. They're generating a lot of code. They're putting the app out there, but they don't realize, okay, this has a huge security risk. But
yeah, yeah,
so yeah, I think we're gonna go through a phase where people are going all in on AI, but then they're gonna realize it's not necessarily giving what they what they're expecting from it. Like, it can generate a scaffold, but you have to have a human to go through and massage it. And people don't know, if people don't know how to do that anymore, then
right.
there's a lot of dangerous code that's going to be out there.
Yeah. And then I do believe that you should understand like what it's doing. Like you
Mhm.
should, or at least try to understand what it's doing, because uh solely relying on, like, yes, okay, I will admit AI does make you a productive, like more productive. The output is, multiplied exponentially in some cases, right? But are you sacrificing speed for quality?
Yeah,
That's the question. It's like you can get prototypes out there and you can make proof of concepts within, minutes, and it's nice, but uh I think you lose that sense of, oh man, I'm running into this problem. How do I fix it?
yeah.
And then like really digging in and then like finding that defect, and then rewriting I don't know, an edge case with the use effect, or rewriting a fetch call to make it, more what's the question? What's the word I'm looking for? To
The performing.
like, yeah, performant or robust, or like,
Mhm.
if you have a bunch of promise calls that you're waiting on, like how can you shave down the time? It's just there's little things that go with actually writing code and understanding what you wrote, and then just like fine tuning it
Yeah.
over time, versus just like, hey Claude, make me a React app that reminds me to walk my dog, right? And it just does whatever it does, and it gives you a zip file at the end of the day.
I
Yeah,
think yeah, I think it kind of shifts. Like, people just think it's just a flat out time savings, but it just shifts the phase. Like, okay, generating an initial scaffold, that's a lot quicker. Like, it gives you the base code a lot quicker. But
yeah,
now you still have to have somebody going through the code line by line, experiment with the app to really understand what's going on. So that's where a lot of the time is going to be spent. Is it's like, let's just say at a company, they hire a vendor, the vendor produces this app, and then now your in-house developers, they have to go through line by line to understand this app. That's kind of like
yeah,
what AI is doing.
yeah, yeah. It's I like to use AI as a planner, like as a partner, versus just relying on it to write whatever it's gonna write. The I think I made the mistake of, this is in my early days of using Claude. I said something along the lines of, here's the plan, here's the scaffold, let me know when you're ready to get started. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And then that answer just like sent it down 5 minutes of just like work. And then
Yeah,
it spit out this zip file. And I was like, this is not what I expected. I thought we were going to go through, page by page or like file by file and like build this out step by step. And it will kind of do what it wants to do if
yeah.
you aren't specific with what you're saying. So Like understanding how to prompt, I think, is really good. If you're going to use AI, like understanding the modes that you're in, like understanding the tool that you're using, because it's very powerful, but it can misunderstand and just kind of run with it if you let it.
So like what do you feel is like important other than knowing how to prompt when dealing with AI, when effectively bringing this into a code base?
Um, Being mindful of what you expose to it, right? Like, uh, you don't expose, like database keys or anything like that. Don't, um, how do I say this? Don't expose any like sensitive information as like the database login information. Um, I think outside of that, just mm, give me a sec. I'm trying to find out the right words to say this. It's like you can wave a magic wand at a lot of problems, right? But if you have to know what you're going to do once you get that time, that extra time. I feel like in a lot of cases, I'll sometimes I'll wave a magic wand at the problem and I'll be like, oh yeah, this is done, cool. But then there's no challenge and there's no progress, there's no sense of progression. Like I don't feel like I actually coded anything,
Right.
and that kind of takes away from that feeling of, man, I saw this really tough problem like that. I feel good. I squashed this bug that's been troubling me for a week. But if you wave a problem at it and then it just, or you wave AI at it and it goes away, what did you learn? Right? Could you solve it another time when it comes up again? And I think that's the big thing to be mindful of in bringing AI into a project is, do you know what you're building? Like, do you know what it's building versus what you're building? And are you able to, uh, do you know what you'll do with the time that you're saving? If
Yeah.
that makes sense. I don't know if you ran into like anything like that, but there have been times when I'll feel that way.
I mean, I think that's the big thing is okay, I'm not using the AI, but a vendor, they're using the AI to generate the app, and sometimes a problem comes up, and you know they might use the AI again,
Mhm.
and it doesn't solve the problem, but the AI tells you where the problem is,
Yeah.
but it doesn't solve it. So I have to go in and use the traditional debugging, going through line by line, isolating chunks of code,
Right.
understanding what this does.
Yeah.
So yeah, it points me in the right direction. Like, okay, the problem exists in this domain, but I have
Mhm.
to like manually go in and excavate the code and go over it. So I think like, AI should be an assistant. It shouldn't be like your replacement. I mean, if it's doing all your coding, then and you don't understand what it's outputting, it's like where are you bringing value? And then you know what what's going to happen when nobody understands the code that's being generated because they're just trusting the AI. Like you don't know, it's not deterministic anymore. Like
Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he says, "What happens when the code that AI uses? What happens in 5 years when we have all these AI apps out there, right? And then you have AI that's referencing other AI apps as the source of truth, and
yeah,
then you just kind of get like a regurgitated version, like a regurgitated, like, I don't know, AI AI referencing AI, and you're not really getting quality code. You're just getting like
yeah,
uh I don't know, like a copy and pasted version of something else. Um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I wonder what's gonna happen in the next couple years. I did hear that somebody said that w- they're gonna, once this AI bubble bursts, right? Once it bursts, then a lot of people are gonna be hired to clean up a lot of the apps
yeah,
that are made by AI.
yeah,
Um,
the big thing about AI is that its costs were initially subsidized, and now once the subsidies are removed, it's a lot more expensive than companies are thinking. They're actually seeing in some cases that it's just cheaper to hire back a developer than try to use AI for everything.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's true. I think that's true. We shouldn't. I think you lose a sense of you lose. I don't know whether it's like a if you've ever seen a video or like an image generated by AI, you it doesn't feel it feels off. There's no human touch. There's no like expression. It's very much just like copy paste. Like, oh, this it looks like this. Yeah, I'm gonna draw the character just like that, and then make it
Right.
look. I don't know, like try and make it look original, but it's not at the same time. You can kind of tell from image to image or video to video, they all have the same
The
like
same
look
look. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, of AI. So like apps are the same way, where I think they'll find a way to write like a fetch call or something, but it's not the proper way. It's not like not proper, but it could be better, right? And I think that's where things like skills come into play. I don't know if you've heard of like Claude skills, but Claude has these things where you can kind of give it guidelines to follow, right? And but that's the human touch again, like where you have to like say, uh, write your write your function calls like this, and then use
Yeah.
parameters like this. You give it a bunch of rules to follow, and then it'll write better code. But if you don't have those rules, then you just get a bunch of nonsense that it thinks is what you want. Um, so it's interesting. Like there's still some human touch to it, but we're shifting away from programming and more to like quality assurance
Yeah, yeah, pretty
roles.
much like a code babysitter,
Yeah.
like kind of like a code auditor, I would say. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Code auditor.
yeah. I mean, I think people, if they want to like have something more sustainable, they should really learn how to code by hand because I mean, you understand the output, and that means, to me, like Claude is almost just essentially like a higher level programming language. Like,
Yeah.
we came in during JavaScript, but there was C or assembly when the same set of instructions were much more verbose, and now you're at an even higher level to where you're speaking to the machine in a human language, and
Mhm.
it's generating more. So if you understand programming concept, but what's going to happen is as these queries become more and more expensive, companies are going to make sure that you know how to efficiently prompt the AI. They're not just going to give you free reign to do whatever you want. So like you understand efficiency, that's going to carry over into AI prompting.
Yeah. I think I think a lot of it comes down to uh like understanding how you can shift like with a career shift or like with skill shift, like your skills shifting from like, okay, front end engineering isn't hot anymore. Now everybody's using AI to kind of handle the front end. How do we communicate to Claude? Like that's now the metric that people are gauging by for developers. Like,
Yeah.
how do you use it? How do you feel about using it? And then or like, do you use AI? How do you feel about using AI? Because I think not everybody likes using AI. And then how proficient are you in using AI to solve your problem? Right? Because you can, again, if I ask AI to give me a React app that does XYZ, and then I iterate features on top of it, it it sometimes can assume things that that don't make sense.
Right.
Like, and it's that's where again coming down to like these things called guardrails, or like you kind of have to give it just enough, and then you say just don't do anything else on top of it. Just to only do this.
Yeah,
solve that one problem. Like you have to be very strict with it.
yeah. What's important about understanding the code is because we've had like Claude on a smaller scale in terms of like Stack Overflow. Like people,
Yeah,
a lot of people they didn't necessarily know how to code. They just go on Stack Overflow, copy
copy
and
paste.
paste
Yeah,
this chunk into their code base, and they don't know what they pasted in. And that's kind of like how a lot of these Claude experts, so-called Claude experts, are there generating this code. They don't know what it does, but it seems like it's working. So they're like, "Oh, it's
yeah,
good to go."
yeah,
You know, that's really dangerous because what seems like it works and what actually works in all reasonable use cases is a completely different thing.
yeah. But even then, with copying and pasting from Stack Overflow, I think with experience, you could say, okay, this is going to give me like 25% of the way there of what I want to do. I just have to change it to do what I want it to do at the end of the day. Um, so nothing, I didn't have any problems copying and pasting. It's just, I just knew that going into this, like, okay, it's only going to get me this far. I have to do the rest of the work myself.
Right.
So, yeah. And then there's times when you like have two different pieces of code and you're like, I want to smash these two together and make them both work. And then you have a bunch of extra stuff left over. Um, yeah, it's interesting when you try to combine and tweak stuff to make it your own.
But do you feel like the tech industry has kind of lost its luster, let's just say, compared to even 4 or 5 years ago? It seemed like back then, way more opportunities. You know,
Uh, I don't know if it's lost its luster. I think that it's just shifted into in a different direction than what has been expected. Like yeah, like 4 or 5 years ago, um, a lot of the tech was just like state management, React, single page applications, software as a service, and then like really understanding system design and algorithm data structures and algorithms, right? And that was the barriers to entry. I think now with this shift, is it a little less uh, magical? Probably, but I think where the magic happens is in that 10% of actual coding. Like AI can you can do the heavy work, right? Of like scaffolding an app and setting up the UI and you know building out the basic, like building out that foundation, and then you can add on top of it. I think that adding on top of it is where the fun begins, right? Like
yeah,
I'm sure that bigger tech companies like Fang are still going in and changing up like algorithms and data structures and tweaking stuff. I I hope they aren't just like vibe coding everything.
right. I think the technical bar, yeah, like you mentioned, is a little different now. You're not
Yeah,
just learning frameworks and syntax now. Data structures and algorithms are more important than ever because you have to take into mind efficiency, and then
yeah,
you're more, besides code auditing, you're more of an architect or somebody who could see the whole system and how it all connects together. Like instead of being a front
exactly.
end guy, DevOps, how
Yeah,
this code gets deployed, a little bit about the back end. Like I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's like where we're shifting to.
And I will say that like I got laid off in June, early June, and the AI was everywhere as I looked online looking for new positions and stuff. And I will say that using AI to learn new skills is really, really helpful. Like really, if you take the time to understand how to ask these these uh these AI softwares, like how to learn stuff, it really helps. Like you can give it a prompt and say, I'm a front end developer and I want to learn full stack development. Here's my resume and here's where I want to be in 6 months. How do I get there? and it will draft you up a plan on how to do it. Like, or you could say, hey, I want to learn, I don't know, what an ORM is, and it'll tell you what it is. And sometimes it can be a little bit too verbose. You could even say like, hey, explain like I'm 5 years old, you know, and it'll explain to you like it's like you're a child. And to me, that's really important because sitting and reading through a technical book, like back in the old days, like you had to like go out and buy a programming design book or system design book. Now you could just say,
Right.
hey, I need to learn this topic. I need to understand it. How does this apply to front end development? How does this apply to back end development?
Mhm.
And then it'll walk with you to help teach you. Um, I think that's really great. I think that's really awesome. Like it's not all doom and gloom with
Right,
AI
right,
stuff.
right.
Yeah.
So like you know, you were at a leadership role at your previous company, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, like how do you feel like, let's just say, being a contributor, senior developer, how is it different being a leader versus just that sole, like, that sole contributor?
I still contributed. I did still take on tickets and deliver features. But the difference was that I would delegate a lot of tasks. So I had a team with me when we all worked on the same project, which was neat. Um, and It was more of uh, yes, at the beginning of a sprint, we would take tickets and assign them to people, but we would have an assigned queue, and and I'm constantly looking in the backlog, pulling in new tickets. There's a managerial
Yeah,
tasks that are involved with that, like fleshing out tickets, helping out other developers when um, sorry, I'm blanking. Helping out other developers when they have a question, just uh, being present, I think, is really the big key. I think it before I was very introverted. I was very much just like, hey, I just want to be the guy that clocks in, picks up his
yeah,
tickets, pushes up PRs, and then leaves, clocks out. But being in that spotlight, I would have to talk with, speak up during stand-ups, do presentations and releases. Um, it it the I couldn't just kind of sit back and just do my work. But I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I I
yeah,
I It gave me the opportunity to explore new horizons for myself. So I think like being that lead doesn't make me a better developer by any means, but it did give me skills that I don't think I would have gotten by just being the guy that just pumps out code.
yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah,
you're not gonna be as proficient as a solo developer in terms of delivering tickets, but you're responsible for a lot more work because you're keeping your team on track, on task. I think that's the big thing as a leader is, one, getting clarity, understanding exactly what needs to be done, and then
yeah,
two, keeping everybody on task. Because like a lot of developers, they kind of have the ADHD kind of thing. If you don't corral them, they're gonna do a little bit of this, jump to this, go do a little bit of that.
yeah.
So
I'm guilty of it too.
yeah,
Even as a lead, like I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I'll say, "Oh, while I'm here, let me work. Let me update this test here, or let me solve this one problem that I'm noticing there's a bug here." And I think it made even though it felt like I was cleaning things up, I did feel like it made reverting changes difficult in some cases. So that's when I learned like, oh, let me just make a separate PR to solve this problem. Like if I see something that needs to be addressed, I'll make it to do, and then just solve it in a separate PR. Because if changes need to be rolled back, then you don't want a massive PR that you need to roll back because then
Yeah.
you'll undo a lot of extra work that uh, might hurt you, in the future. So um, there's lessons in everything.
Yeah.
There's lessons in everything if you really look hard enough.
No, yeah, I think it is like really important. Each PR should have this one intended purpose, one intended problem to solve versus like 4 or 5 tickets in this
Yeah,
massive mega PR because one, it's a lot harder to understand. Two, like you mentioned, when you need to roll back, some of this code needs to stay,
yeah.
but you're taking out the whole thing, and that's an issue.
Then you have to start cherry picking, and it just
Yeah,
gets really, it's really messy. I would rather just save it for later. If I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. It's okay. Um, yeah, that took me a while to really learn. I think I got some feedback once. It was just like, he's an awesome developer, but he needs to learn how to delegate. And I was just like, but I felt, you feel like you're a superhero handling all the whatever issues you might find. But it's true. Uh, and I think this goes for both technical and non-technical positions. Like delegate. If you don't know something, like ask, like speak up. Don't spin your wheels. I've 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 uh I've worked with developers who sometimes will think that they need to handle everything on their own and they don't speak up. And they say,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, everything's okay," and then you look up and it's like a week later, and you're like, "Hey, what's going on with this ticket?" Like, "Oh, I'm stuck on this," or actually, or they'll push up a PR and it's like half done, you know. Um, and speak up if you get stuck. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to try and solve everything on your own. Like, I get it. It feels good when you finally solve that problem, but somebody else might have the answer that you're looking for.
yeah. I think especially with junior developers, you have to pretty much tell them like, take a crack at it. If you
Yeah,
can't get it in, 2 day, a day or something, reach out and we'll pair a program and
yeah,
I'll sit with you and take a look at it. Otherwise, they like you say, they'll just let it roast on the back burner for like 2 weeks, and then hey, this needs to be delivered. What happened? Oh, well, yeah, I don't know what to do. And now
yeah,
you're having to come in as the lead and fix the problem,
yeah,
and they're not learning. They're feeling discouraged. So
yeah. But I try not to make anyone feel like discouraged or upset or anything like that. Because sometimes I'll learn in the middle
yeah,
of the debugging problem, um, and then that becomes more documentation later, just to share with the rest of the team or anybody else picking up that project later down the line. You know, um, I personally emphasize as a leader, like I don't know everything. When we do releases, like, and I might get the pat on the back, good job, great job, but I'm like, I didn't make it. I didn't do all the work myself. I got a whole team
yeah,
that, I have, uh, three other people that are smart and they're all technical in their own different ways. And I just coordinate and everybody just executes. So, um, and I also believe like you should you should be able to trust the people that you work with. I don't know if you ever work with somebody and you're like, man, that guy, I don't know if he's gonna if not that he's not trustworthy, but like you kind of give them a task and they fall flat or they fall
right,
short. Like I don't know if you ever work with somebody like that, but you kind of have to pump their confidence up if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like make them feel confident about themselves so that they can kind of get into the flow state of like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Kind of like helping them fight imposter syndrome, if we could call it that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You got like you said, you pretty much got to know their capabilities, know what they're capable of
yeah,
handling, put them in the areas where they'll excel, but also like you do have to put a load on them that's greater than what they can currently bear, but
right.
it's not so heavy it's gonna crush them. Kind of like working out. Like if you can bench 135, I'm not gonna put on 225 and say lift it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here's 155, and I'll hover over you. I think you can get it.
Right, right. Yeah.
So how do you like personally help cultivate like a collaborative atmosphere to where people are not afraid to come to you when they have an issue, and they're just having fun versus dreading coming to work because
I try to personally. I try to um, whenever I meet somebody from the jump, the first day, uh, I say, if you ever get stuck, speak up, ping me, because I'd rather you ping me early than don't ping me at all or spin your wheels. If you spend an hour on a problem and 2 hours on a problem and you don't understand it, ping somebody, reach out. Um, we would have stand-ups daily, and then for like an hour, and or was it 30 minutes, give or take 30 minutes to an hour, not stand-up but like a side meeting for devs. I mean, we would just check in and say, hey, how's everybody doing? If anybody was stuck on something, we would all mob program on whatever that person was stuck on. um, and I think that cultivated a sense of like camaraderie.
yeah,
um, but even during those meetings, like we would meet for 30 minutes and we say, hey, the release is coming up in 2 sprints, 3 sprints. Are we gonna make it? And I think that was like not a reminder of dread, but more of a reminder of, this is our goal. Let's work towards it. Like let's what do we have to do to accomplish it? And uh, like it's moments like that where I think helped a lot of the people that I worked with to feel more comfortable with reaching out and talking. Because even and sometimes during those meetings, we would just shoot the shit. We weren't necessarily like, hey, does anybody have anything that's going on, or hey, what do you guys doing for the week over the weekend? And that's when we discovered that, oh, so and so likes anime, or this person has a PlayStation, they play these games, or somebody plays in a mariachi band, or another guy plays, I don't know, another guy likes to do run marathons, and you explore and you learn about more about your coworkers, and that brings people closer together.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I think it's really important. Like you mentioned, like okay, they're stuck on a problem. Everybody comes together to help out. Like it's like okay, if you fall in a pit of quicksand, it's not like we're just gonna leave you behind and let you sink.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I personally wouldn't. Yeah,
Yeah, I think when you have that, especially with juniors, like it's not a sink or swim. I mean, swim or sink culture. They're a lot happier and more productive because they don't feel like if they can't solve a problem, they're out. They're screwed. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
now everybody's leveraging. Like even though you're a lead, that doesn't mean you know more than everyone else about everything. Like I think leading is kind of like making sure everybody feels comfortable, collectivizing their knowledge instead of having these silos.
yeah, yeah. There's there is definitely times where I think over time, with my last team especially, I kind of knew who to go to when it came to certain problems. I would be like, oh, okay, this person is more front end heavy. They can solve, complex front end problems. This person is more not not back end, but like more uh, algorithmic, or like they can solve more complex problems, not just front end stuff, but like JS nuances. I can go to them, or uh, this person is better at writing tests. They're more thorough at writing tests. I'm gonna ask them to help raise up some testing coverage. And so understanding everybody's kind of positions and their specialties really helped out a lot too, and interests as well. I think uh, you can give a developer a task, but if it's not something that fires them up, but it's not something that they're interested in, then they're gonna just do it just to kind of just do it to pass the time. They're not gonna do it and be like, oh yeah, uh, how would I write that? You know, it makes it a lot more I think it makes it a lot more interesting if I'm working on something that I'm interested in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's pretty much like with anything in life. If you like what you're doing, you're gonna put a lot more effort in versus like I can't wait to hurry up and do this and
Yeah.
get out and do something else.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man, I think this is a good closing point, man. Before we get out of here, did you want to leave our audience with any closing thoughts?
Feels good to be back. Hope to see you
Yeah,
guys again soon.
yeah, man. That's good to have you back. It's been what, like a year or two or so.
It's been a while. Yeah.
But hey, man, yeah, welcome back.
Thank you.
But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in.